Come here, bud. Oh, are you a big orange cat? Yeah. Do you want to be a streamer star like PewDiePie? You could be the PewDiePie of cats. Just with a less annoying voice. Look at how dirty the mat is. Yes. Do 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 do. Tactical reload. Where's my batteries? Oh, there's one. There's more. More, Ben. Yeah. Why not? It helps me get through these builds that I'd prefer to not do. Oh, I have beer this time. Helps me get through it. Feel like one of those people that like works Uber at night because it's like, oh, I gotta put my kids through college. I found this YouTube video or YouTube channel for Chris's original Red Hot hot dogs. It's like a food truck. What's it called? GoPro channel kind of thing, and it's fascinating. It's like, man, why can't I just do that for a living? That would be fine by me. Like, that would be a good retirement job. That's kind of what this feels like, just mindless work. Ben Hecken is angry drunk here. Oh, I never get angry when I'm drunk. I just get more crazy. Let's see. We need two, this is two righties. Only got two 3D printers going right now. Oh, crap. Ah. I gotta start getting back up for MGC probably tomorrow night. Oh, yeah. It was, oh, what year was that? It was at Maker Faire, New York, 2013, and we had this insane after party at the Chinatown Sheraton. I only was there till like 2:30, but according to the rumors, somehow they bribed the hotel and like kept drinking until like 6 a.m. It was crazy. Yeah. That was one of those things where I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't have home in the Bronx. Well, that was back when New York City was a crime-free paradise, so whatever. Could have been worse. Could have been Chicago, which has also happened. But yeah, who was it? Oh yeah, the iFixit people were there, so they, I think they gave one to me and then one to, oh, who got the other one? I can't remember. The hotel was all done with like dragons and like jade and stuff. It was really cool. That was No, that was out. Yeah, that was in Queens. Yes, because Maker Faire was at Flushing Corona Park that year, or whatever they call it now. Whatever giant conglomerate bought it last week. Isn't it called? It's Citibank Stadium, which used to be Shea Stadium, where the Beatles had their last performance. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. That's the place they filmed, or where the end of Men in Black took place, and also Iron Man 2. That is the park. Those like weird saucer things from Men in Black actually are there in reality. They're like left over from like the 1963 World's Fair, I want to say. Hello, Ben. Just we're watching some shitty videos on YouTube that made me feel bad. And your live stream popped up. Thanks. Oh, yeah. Thanks for watching. Yes, I'm doing these live streams. I know because I only usually do it for charity, but I'm doing these because it's helping me to cope with this huge backlog of controllers that I have to do on top of my day job, which is now pinball programming. So, I mean, I don't know if I like doing these for people, but I mean, they pay me for it, and you know, it is money. But it's like, man, I don't really need to do this, but I do it. I don't know. Back into a schedule, like doing these. For the Texas Roadhouse game. I mean, it works perfectly. There's no flaws. What's your choice of beer, Ben? Choice? I usually buy 2 brands of beer these days. Codename Working Man's. So this is the kind of beer you drink if you're like using power tools in the garage, or, you know, roofing. You know, a beer that's not too powerful. And then if I feel like I want to like have a good sleepy night, the other one I usually get is Warp Speed from Lake Louie Brewing Company, which is now owned by Wisconsin Brewing Company, and that is a brewing company in Verona, Wisconsin, which is just southwest of Madison. I actually used to live there, and that's where Epic Systems is, the healthcare software company. That giant company is down there. So that's the nice thing about Wisconsin. Like, there's a brewery very close. So yeah, that beer comes like what? It's like 15 miles away, if that. And then of course the Millers from Milwaukee. Pre-Midwest gaming stream. Yeah, MGC is what, in 3 days on Friday. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get there. Well, I'm gonna try to get there by 8:30. It's only like an hour drive. I live on the east side of Madison, so it's a pretty quick drive from here. Then we're going to be in the Empire Ballroom, which is just off of the main desk at the Hilton. The hotel is connected to MGC, or the MGC adjacent hotel, or what do you want to call it. So that is where the sessions will be. And the first one's at 10 a.m. And that one didn't sell out, so I don't know if it's the economy or the fact that there's probably only so many people that want to bring tools to a workshop and pay $65. Next year, we're going to have a new build. Ken and I were talking about making one using the ILI 9341 320 by 240 8-bit parallel DMA screen. I think I talked about that in my last video. Okay, so these are both righties. Righties are easier to make, so I'm going to see if I can knock this out by 11. Ah, jeez, I need a vacation. I haven't gone on a fishing trip in like, God, it's 2022. 2023 is a friggin' blur. Please keep doing these streams. Well, maybe. I mean, because normally I do this kind of stuff on Mondays. That's what I was doing for like, ever since I started the. Oh, someone asked about pinball. I program for Spooky Pinball Company. They're the ones who did America's Most Haunted. So they're south of Platteville. So they're probably like the third or fourth biggest company right now. I don't know. Who knows what's up with CGC? The morning I woke up dead. Wisconsin has those nice beers. I'm making my own beer nowadays. Oh, cool. I'm vending again. Yeah, wasn't that your first trip there last time, CC Game CEO? Your first trip to MGC, and you said you were very happy with it? Is Bud next to you? I don't. He was here a few minutes ago. I would imagine he's probably sleeping on the pile of packing materials again. I'm not buying a Miller or some Cerveza for $6 a bottle. Consider changing your legal name to Ben Hell. No, I've never thought about that. And my legal name is Benjamin J. Heckendorn. Back in the day, it was like I was looking for I wanted a .com, and I was able to get benheck.com. I shortened my last name, and I'm like, oh, that sounds good. So a 7-letter.com, even in, when was that, 2004? Even in 2004, a 7-letter.com was a get. You know, that was pimping. And then I guess now people think my name is Ben Heck. I wish it was. That would be easier to spell on the telephone. Well, people probably still ask. Heck? How do you spell that? Is it H-E-C-H-E, like that actress who was in 6 Days and 7 Nights? No, it's Heck, as in hell. I think I mentioned this in the last stream, but my dad's side they're Norwegian. And Heckendorns were Heckenthorns because they were Vikings. But then, back in the 1800s, when you would emigrate to America, quite often they would change your family name at Ellis Island and try to make it more Americanized. So Heckenthorn got turned into Heckendorn. Great story, right? So I always pre-tin these pads that I'm going to desolder. I mentioned in the previous video the the annular rings on the 2020 model controller are smaller, so you have to definitely make sure that you have a good heat transfer. Because if you take too long trying to desolder something, you can rip up the rings and damage it. And of course, I am recycling these Hall effect sensors, which are sensors that detect magnetism and provide a linear voltage output in relation to it, if you don't know what a Hall effect sensor is. So yeah, another game controller used Hall effect sensors was the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast also had Hall effect sensor analog triggers. And its single analog stick, which was probably part of its demise, it also, I think, yeah, it had 4 Hall effect sensors. Although, in hindsight, you could do it with 3 for an analog stick. Activate desolder gun. You guys ever think about EV batteries not being the best? Yeah, I think we talked about that on Sunday night. When the Buc-ee's eventually opens into Forest, could you give us your review? Oh yeah, that's right. Are they building it now? I would love to see Buc-ee's and Quick Trip get into some sort of like war of attrition. So obviously I love Quick Trip, but Buc-ee's makes Quick Trip look like an outhouse. I imagine the reason it's in DeForest is because every weekend all of Illinois invades Wisconsin and goes up to Wisconsin Dells, and DeForest is on that pilgrimage route. I'm guarantee that's why they're putting it there. Because by the time the Fibs would get to DeForest, they'd be about 2.5 hours into their journey and probably like looking for subsistence. Although once you get to DeForest, well, Wisconsin Dells is about another 45 minutes from there, so yeah, it probably makes sense. Oh, I don't know. Anyone from the Midwest, people from the Midwest, you don't have to explain this, but like Wisconsin, we hate Illinois. The only people that hate Illinois more than Wisconsinites are people who live in Illinois. I mean, nothing against the people. Well, they're kind of like really crazy drivers, but yeah, well, I think it's because of the Bears, even though the Bears haven't been good in decades. Or, I mean, well, back in the 80s, the Bears were like really good. And back in the 80s, the Packers were really terrible. So I think that was part of it. So this basically simulates a TO220 package, because those were getting hard to find even before the shortages. And so now I just reuse the Hall effect sensor that's already there. Also, Hall effect sensors are really expensive. Great Rickism though. Okay. Tactile center switches with a Hall effect sensor? Yeah, probably with math. I mean, a Hall effect sensor, that would solve stick drift, but it would cost a lot more money. You'd think for what they charge for a PlayStation 5 controller, $75. But, oh, do you get Hall effect sensors? No. You stupid cavemen carbon pots. But Sony gets your money. You know, stuff with like Xbox and like, you know, things they've been saying, I would not be surprised if Microsoft exits Xbox hardware. It just makes it like a Game Pass platform. I mean, they've amassed so many publishers now. Not that they've really necessarily done the best stuff with them, but you know, well, people are gonna keep buying Call of Duty, I suppose. I don't know if people will keep buying like what's it called? Elder Scrolls? Yeah, I don't know. I played Starfield for about 8 hours, and I was like, this game is awful. Like, the UI, it felt like the UI was designed by, like, the DOT or the IRS, like, to be as terrible as possible. Like, who's that race in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? The Vulgans? Was that it? The Bureaucrat Planet? It felt like those guys designed the UI in Starfield. Then the game also was completely boring. It's like the Bethesda magic is you force the player to walk around a 2D environment because a planet or, you know, Tamriel or Boston is a 2D environment, really. Like, you're on the surface. And so you're forced to, like, discover things. And when you go into space, you lose all of that. Also, like, a double barrel shotgun in space is completely stupid. Ohioans think they hate Michigan. That's only because Michigan is better in every way. Will we get any drunk disassembly videos in the future? I don't know. I used to go to Goodwill a lot. Going to Goodwill was my cope during COVID when all the conventions were closed. Kind of like going to conventions, like looking at stuff. So a lot of those videos were derived from that. But now, a little later on, I'm like, I don't know, like, there's some point where I want to, like, just, like, rage quit to a trailer in the woods. And I'm not being hyperbolic. And, so, for me, it's like, okay, you know, anything, I've been trying to, like, not, to have fewer things, I guess, so. I've been less inclined to buy random junk, I guess. And also, the Menards here doesn't really have a junk section anymore. Maybe someone got electrocuted by one of those big Clive boom boxes. I used to do this with a laser jig, but now I just kind of eyeball it. I'm going to get in jail. You know, I'm still gonna make another Bud music video. It's either gonna be Kit in prison, and it's gonna be Folsom City Prison Blues, or the other one, which I'm kind of leaning towards more because it's even stupider, is Betty Davis eyes, but it's going to be Kristen Dunst eyes, because when Bud like has a sleepy, derpy look, he looks just like Kristen Dunst, you know, from Spider-Man. And then I can put lots of like movie references in the song. And try to make them as obscure as possible. Like Interview with a Vampire and Melancholia. A good desoldering station? Well, I like this Heiko. It's a standalone gun, and you just plug it into the wall. There's the number, if you're interested. This was like $160, I want to say. I mean, I like it because I don't have to have like this big station. I still use just like my old Weller that I've been using, all the old Weller. I want you to go shoot that old Weller soldering station. And yeah, I just get these cartridges and like these glass filters, and yeah, I don't know. I like the fact that it's just a self-contained gun, you know. When we did the show, Felix had like this super ultra mega time, as he would say, Heiko station that had like a reflow air thing and solder and a desoldering iron. I don't know, but that costs a lot more than $165. Kristen Dunst. Kristen Dunst was in Fargo? Are you sure about that? I don't think that's right. Was she? $300 now. Oh, wow, that's great. Yeesh. Must be made out of microchips and car insurance. God, I want to say... I don't think I spent $300 on mine. I guess I could check. I think it was on Amazon. God, I'm pretty sure it was like $160. I don't know. It's nice though. Of course, I can write it off. That's part of the thing. It's less of an issue. Because I do this for money. I could tell you that. For money. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Yeah, she was like a little kid in Interview with a Vampire. It's kind of weird, like there's like these actresses, like you remember from the 90s, and they're like really young, and then nowadays you're like, oh, that actress is like 3 years younger than me. Or like Natalie Portman. Alright. Speaking of Natalie Portman, did you know that Keira Knightley was one of her clone doubles in The Phantom Menace? And, not as well known as an actress, but Rose Byrne also was one of her clones in that movie. She was also in Sunshine with, like, 5 Avengers. No, wait, how many Avengers were in Sunshine? Is the Asian guy from Doctor Strange, is he considered... He's an Avenger, right? What's that guy's name? He was in Sunshine. That was before he was chunky. That was back when he was skinny. Oh man, what's his name? B.D. Wong. Yes. And then, of course, Chris Evans was in that movie. And then Rose Byrne was in X-Men. So it's kind of like the Avengers, right? I should have probably carved those edges. Do you want to hear a terrible confession? I've always heard it's a really good movie, and I have never seen Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, or whatever it's called. It's probably because I don't really like Jim Carrey, but I've heard it's a really good movie, so I should probably watch it. Isn't it about like a couple who like starts to forget their own relationship or something? He assembled, so yeah, he's an Avenger. What's that line from Infinity War? He's like, "You're invited to my wedding." They should have just ended at Infinity War. That would have been a perfect ending. Just kill off the expensive actors. Boom, done. I thought Endgame was garbage. It's like, oh, time travel to fix everything. Dumb. God, that was dumb. Especially like the way they do time travel only works if you have like Rick and Morty multiverse stuff going on. But then they also had a multiverse after that, so you can't have both. It's like, who's the Gamora? Who's the blue chick who's like from Doctor Who? It's Gamora, right? Doesn't she kill her younger self? How the hell does that work? Unless you have a multiverse. But it wasn't a multiverse, it was time travel. Oh my god, that was so bad. Ugh. It's like, they should have had Rick and Morty writers doing Marvel for Endgame, not after, because I think they would have at least been like, hey, this doesn't make any sense unless you do this. But then you can't do time travel and a multiverse with a multiverse. Nebula. What did I call her? Gamora? Wait, oh no, Gamora's the green one, right? Yeah, okay, sorry. No, Marcus, I saw, because I liked Jim Carrey when he was Fire Marshal Bill on In Living Color. That's how old I am. And then, so I went to see Ace Ventura, and I hated it. I thought it was just stupid. I liked most of his other movies, like The Mask I liked, and what was the one where, oh, Dumb and Dumber, but his first big movie, I didn't think it was funny at all. Because it's just him like yapping at the camera and stuff. I mean, I like it when he became like more of like, when he wasn't just like literally talking out of his ass, but I don't know. So yeah, I guess I gotta turn in my Gen X card because I didn't like Ace Ventura. I like the second one though, because the second one became so stupid. I don't know. It's like it was stupid enough. I don't. It's like I liked all those dumb Adam Sandler movies. I liked Tommy Boy. I liked those movies with like what's his face and Chris Farley. But I just could not stand Ace Ventura. Like I actually kind of like hated it. I don't know why. I mean, he basically plays Fire Marshal Bill. Only Gen Xers will get that reference. But then it's like for 2 hours. So check this out. I take these and I fold them over a few times like an accordion. The reason I do that so is if I have to fix it, then I'm able to lift the circuit board up off the plastic and get at the connections below without taking it all apart. So it's kind of like pre-insurance. These thin tack switches, they do fail, but again, not as much as the stick drift. Team SNL versus In Living Color. Yeah, Jennifer Lopez was on In Living Color. Like that was one of her very first big gigs as well. Like in the early 90s, like when I was like in high school and middle school. I don't know if it's because I think it was on earlier. I remember me and my sister, we would usually, if we watched any of that, we would watch in living color for whatever reason. I think that was, I'm sure that was on Fox. That sounds like something that would be on Fox. Oh wait, actually no, before Jim Carrey, maybe someone in the maybe someone in the chat can guess this one. Like Jim Carrey did have a movie before Ace Ventura. Actually, wasn't one of the Wayans brothers in it? I'm sure someone remembers this one. I'm not going to say it though. I'll let you guess it. What was he doing in Living Color? He was just one of the staff comedians. So he was like, like how Chris Farley or Adam Sandler would be on, they were employed by Saturday Night Live before they were big stars. That was Jim Carrey. He was like one of the I don't know, it was one of like the main actors of the show. And it was kind of like I guess the best way to put it was like a hip hop SNL. I don't know. See what Wikipedia describes it as. I want to say Jennifer Lopez was just like a backup dancer or something, so she wasn't like a main character. There's probably a list. I'm sure. Well, of course, there's a list of everyone that came from that show, and I want to say at least one of the Wayans brothers, Jim Carrey, and then to a tertiary extent, Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez. I was going to write you a poem, but I have no talent. That's okay. Okay, this is a righty. Try not to drill into my fingers. Or make the buttons go flying. That's the worst. So in this stream, we're going to talk about Jim Carrey the whole time, apparently. Oh yeah, I guess someone figured out the movie because everyone's talking about Gina Davis. For some reason, the end of The Fly came up in my movie clips on YouTube, and then she rips his jaw off, and I'm like, man, there's like a lot of movies with Gina Davis and people's jaws falling off. I guess that's her thing. That must be her kink. I would say whatever happened to her, but Cutthroat Island. All right, so let's get this one ready. Again, I don't have the chat right in front of me, so I only glance at it every so often, so do not be offended if I do not respond to everything. Maybe I could have like a work surface that's like a big screen. That would be stupid. It would also be really dirty because, yeah. This bat is a little more dirty than usual because I was building something on it last night. Oh yeah, homie, don't play that. Yeah, that's right. That was the big tagline. Yeah. And then he would hit someone with a bag or something, or like, he would hit people with something. He'd hit them over the head with something. I remember that. Do you remember the 90s? Ugh. All right. Yeah, this is just like someone who's making like 100 hamburgers at McDonald's. We've even got all these little trays. Because, McDonald's has like, what, 5 ingredients? They're not much better than Taco Bell. Yeah, it's like what? Like lettuce. Well, it's always, what is it? American cheese? Yeah. It's like American cheese, pickles, onions, lettuce, and yeah. There's not that many ingredients. It's pretty crazy. I miss the good old days when like fast food was, well, cheap, and also when it was like fresher. I don't think I'm misremembering it, because I remember like in the past, like you would get a quarter-pound cheeseburger, and you would bite into it, and it would have like juice in it, and it was like, oh, this was probably cooked like in the last 20 minutes, or whatever. I don't think I'm misremembering that. Wife says it was a sock. Yeah, it was like a multicolored sock filled with like nickels or something. All beef patties. Oh yeah, that's the that was the Big Mac song from the 80s. Only 80s kids remember this. You know, I really miss, like, if I had a time machine, I could go back to 1998. Actually, I don't even know if it was around 1998. You know, to buy Apple stock. I would go and get an Arch Deluxe at McDonald's. I thought those were so good. And back then they were cheap. They had like that bacon ring that they made somehow, and like the different spices. And apparently, I was reading about it, of course, and the idea with that was that, yeah, they wanted to like attract like a more adult audience or something. Like it was the burger for adults. And I guess I was an adult and I liked it, so I guess mission accomplished. Oh, I gotta get my tape. The other one I really remember liking, it was a little before that. It was probably around 1996. Pizza Hut had they called it the Sicilian pizza, you know, like Italy. And it was like this, I want to say it was like a rectangular shaped pizza. It was kind of sort of shaped like a Detroit style pizza. And actually it was a lot like that. But it was supposed to be Italian. And it had like really good spices. Like it had this very distinct spices for a pizza of that era, or like, you know, mass market pizza. It's been a long time. I can't really remember. It had like a very sharp taste. Like there was a lot of like pointedness to it, and that's gone too. McDonald's fries comes with Dima sauce pox. You know, I think, you know, the best way to kind of remember what McDonald's can taste like when it's good is to be at the airport. Like if you go to the McDonald's in O'Hare near the piano, there's always a line. So the food is like super fresh, and it's like, wow. It's like, I think if McDonald's actually just made their food as fresh as possible and didn't have it all in a warming tray, like I think they could. Because, you know, that's what Culver's does. Like, if you order a burger at Culver's, I mean, that's one of the reasons it's a smash burger, is because they can cook it really quickly. Yeah, because I think that's why those chains, quote unquote, do better, is because, well, they taste better. It has nothing to do with health. Like, Culver's isn't healthy, In-N-Out isn't healthy, Chick-fil-A isn't healthy. It's tasty. That's all that matters. Versus like dried out like McDonald's food table. Like the other thing that sucks, like when any sort of like modern processed food gets dry or any bit cold, is that the salt becomes even more apparent, like how much salt is in it. For whatever reason, like when the food is hot, the salt is tempered somewhat. Big and Tasty Arch Burger. Oh yeah, Big and Tasty. What was that McDonald's thing? I think it was in the 80s, where it came in two separated. Well, it was styrofoam, and there was two sides to it, and they had the hot on one side and the cold on the other, and then there's styrofoam ones as well. So nowadays the environmentalists would have a conniption fit. And the idea was they would serve you this, so it kind of looked like it was like 2 pancake trays. And then you would put the burger sides together at your table. I don't know if, I can't remember what that was called. Hey, the packaging seemed pretty wasteful even back then, and then by today's standards it was barbaric. That was the McDLT? Okay. You must have spurred the memory in my brain. McFresh? McDiabetes. Culver's is bland grease for old people? That seems a bit harsh. Raising Cane's. McGriddles. Yeah, it's a pancake with syrup infused in it. Sugar, sugar, sugar. Oh, they are pretty good. McGriddles are pretty good for like hangover food. I can't say I've never done that. Anything greasy is. I'm actually not gonna go to Murph this year. I did an extra convention 2 weeks ago. I went to Texas Pinball Fest, so I think I've kind of hit my convention tolerance limit. Also, what they charge for hotels that weekend in Goshen is like kind of laughable. Like that shitty Best Western is like $175 a night. I mean, they got a waffle maker, but yeah. So maybe I'll hit it next year. Sorry. Yeah, I guess my new thing is when I'm trying to cope with having to work on a weekend or weeknight, I stream. That way I can talk and distract myself and not cry myself to sleep because I'm trying to catch up on all these controllers. I'm down to 6, and then after tonight I'll be down to 4. So I'll only be 4 behind. That is, if no one else orders any at the time being. Please don't order any at the time being. Alright, this is just like those McDonald's videos. Except I get paid a lot more. Alright, let's do this. And 5mm. Put on the special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun. Ben, have you tried giving up your work ethic? You know, I have actually. I am definitely a lot lazier than I used to be. It's probably because of age. So it might seem like I'm not lazy right now, but I'm definitely lazier. I guess I'm saying that as a positive. Fillet of fish with shrimp in it. Oh yeah, in Tokyo. They got all sorts of crazy menu items in other countries. Every convention becomes unsustainable. The thing I thought was weird about Murph is like Murph had insane growth. And then obviously they had to like shut down for a year or two. And I don't know, it just seems like, I mean, maybe their goal is to not grow too much, which is probably a good thing. I guess just compared to other conventions that I go to, like Midwest Gaming Classic or Vintage Computer Fest, which I am both, well, MGC is this weekend, and then VCF I am going to. That's in September. Those shows have like grown quite a bit. And they kept growing after COVID, whereas Murph doesn't seem like it did. And you know, Murph is cool and all, but I I personally lately have had more fun at MGC and Vintage Computer. Well, because I like to drink, Vintage Computer Fest is. It's insane how much if you've never been around a bunch of geeks and engineers, they really like to party more than you probably think. Well, actually, you guys probably know the truth about that. Coping mechanism with live streams. I watch live streams on to drink alone. Oh, that's one way of putting it. Hey, it's better to drink alone than to drink and drive. Put that on a bumper sticker. That alignment's a little off. I think I can make it work though. Oh, speaking of drinking. So there's this haunted mob cigar bar that a lot of people told me to go to called Shakers. It's not too far south of where MGC is taking place, so I think we're going to go check that out on Friday in Milwaukee. Although I have heard some second opinions that it's a little touristy, so I was kind of expecting a huge hole in the wall, but apparently it's like a multi-level building with like 2 different bandstands and stuff, so whatever. I'm sure there's like a bottomless pit in the basement. All those places have bottomless pits. That's where you put the politicians. Popeyes is great, just the chicken. Yeah, Popeyes is pretty good. I remember there was this Arby's that used to be near where my old apartment. And then it closed. It didn't make it past COVID. And I'm like, oh, that kind of sucks, because I used to go there, right? Even though there's a closer Arby's now. But then it got turned into a Popeyes. And I'm like, oh, screw Arby's. This is cool. It's a Popeyes. So the one time I went, I think it was before all the fast food started skyrocketing in price. But I remember being quite surprised at how affordable it was, and the quality was much higher than KFC. KFC's been crap for a long, long time. Hall effect sensor. And silver marker. I did actually manage to find some white controllers on Amazon, so those will be here Thursday. And I also bought 2 Arduino Leonardos, because I think those would probably be the best bet for the Atari 800 project I want to do. I was experimenting with, actually that's what I was doing last night. I wired up a Atmel SAM D11D microcontroller because I had some laying around. Because I was like, oh, this thing should work, because I wanted to have SD card access, and the ARM is 3.3 volts, so you wouldn't need a converter, and then USB CDC device, and that way you could connect to the computer and load up like Respect or whatever, and then your computer would pretend to be like an Atari peripheral. And then a standard TTL serial port, which you'd use that to talk to the Atari. Although you would need a converter for that because the Atari is 5 volts. But then I realized, like, if you use the Arduino libraries, just the SD FAT library alone takes up more than the 16K of flash this chip had. So it's like, what is the point of this chip? It's like, you've got this chip with a pretty powerful core, but then you only have 16K of flash. It's like, oh, good thing I have DMA, so I can DMA all this huge amount of memory I have. That's my cope for the fact that I spent an hour wiring up something I won't be able to use. The Arduino Leonardo, which is an 18 mega 32U4, it costs way more than the chip I just described, but it'll work. That was a chip we used for the first MGC workshop that got canceled. And then that chip, shortly thereafter, that was one of the first chips that I noticed became unobtainium. It's basically a USB capable version of the venerable ATmega 328. It's basically ATmega 328 with a dedicated USB on board and 512 more bytes of RAM. So yeah, It's, no, what is that? How much RAM is on? It's 2K, right? Yeah, I think it's like 2.5K versus 2K. I can't remember. I should know this. I should know how much RAM is on an Arduino. Arby's was the bomb. There's an Arby's actually pretty close to me. I go there maybe once a month. Actually, it used to be really, really close to our first shop. It was like a quarter mile away from the first shop that we had. So we would do... what was our name for that? Shoot, I can't remember what we called it. Oh, it was called Shake Break. So we would go, and this is when Allison was working. We would go to Arby's. We would get chocolate shakes, and then we'd put a shot of Bailey's in it. That was Shake Break. Oh, I don't think I have... Oh, crap. I need more triggers. Can you do an improv, a dialogue of Rossman talking to the 8-bit guy about fast food? Oh, so I have to do both voices? That's what I'm picking up? You know, STM32, that was mega unobtainium a couple years ago, so I wasn't really drawn to it, let's just say it that way. Louis Rossman talking to the 8-bit guy. Oh, they're both Texans now, right? Yeah, because Fort Worth and Austin. Let's see. Oh, wow, $19.99. Thank you very much. Remember, this isn't for charity, just so you know. Sister-in-law was married to a guy named Ben from Madison. Two things I remember. He'd always bring his own beer when he came to visit. Well, of course. And he once locked himself out of his car and offered the AAA guys some beer. Yeah, exactly. That's like those YouTube videos where like that guy who's like, you know, dating a California girl from Wisconsin. That's all pretty realistic. And yeah, for whatever reason, you have to wave at all your neighbors. I mean, why wouldn't you, right? I imported Planet X3. Okay. All right, so I think I can workshop this. So. In today's episode, I'm going to port Planet X to this Tamagotchi toy from McDonald's. Hey everybody, I'm here to tell you that the software in that Tamagotchi toy is owned by you. It turned off at any time by the McDonald's Corporation. You see, McDonald's, big efforts at John Deere tractors, they own the software. And that's why I hate New York. Oh, that doesn't sound good at all. I would never copyright the software for Planet X3. It's free! Only $20 per copy. Well, that all sounds very good. I would never come to Fort Worth. I think that's where all the rednecks live. Oh, no, it's super cool. I have 3 electric cars. Oh, all right then. Well, did you know the software in those cars, you don't own any of that software. The microchips can be turned on. Now people are buying Alexa microwaves. They're good. But despite how much I talk about this, I'm still not remotely black-pilled enough. Also, I hate New York. Alright, I'm not going to do any more of that. The Long Kiss Good... yeah, I saw Long Kiss Goodnight a million years ago. I think I saw it in the theater. Yeah, Sam Jackson was in it, right? And Gina Davis. If I recall, that was kind of like a double movie jail escape movie, because Gina Davis was trying to get out of movie jail for Cutthroat Island, and Joe Esterhazy was trying to get out of movie jail for Showgirls, which both of those movies came out in 1995, the year before The Long Kiss Goodnight, which was 1996. Not putting up panels in the shade for I just can't believe that people in Texas don't have insulated walls. That's hard to believe. Like, there's pipes in the walls, and then... Ooh, the glue oozed out. Ooh. PP bus. I like Lewis. I just think he's not remotely black-pilled enough for what he's trying to do. Because... Oh, sorry. Can't. Like, if I was hired by an evil company, John, to screw over customers, that's how I would do it. Okay, well, let's let's enforce the copyright on all the code we wrote and make sure nothing works. Oh, thank you for the super chat. For Rossman and 8-Bit Improv, you should be on those Who Lines and This Isn't Anyway. Yeah. Yeah, my David impression is a little bit more caricatured than the way, because I watch all his videos. Actually, I watch more of his videos than Louis Rossman. I mean, I loved watching Louis Rossman's like real estate hunt or whatever, but yeah, I'd use my back Starlink. 5 kilobits per minute. It's as fast. There was one Portland Retro Gaming Expo. I shared an Uber with David because we were both at the airport. and he didn't know what pot smelled like, and I was like, what the heck? Because, of course, everything in Portland reeks of pot. And I said to the driver, I'm like, oh, sounds like your last ride had some fun, huh? And he was like, oh, yeah. And David's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, smell? He's like, I don't get it. And I'm like, oh, my God. Whatever. Not everyone can be like a hard partying rock star like me on YouTube. Brought my tape measure with me, yeah. I've decided that the trigger colors are going to be white because I'm too lazy to load into my machine. So there you go. For those asking about work ethic, it has definitely declined. Oh, I rarely do that. Sorry, Tres Verde. I don't know. It's an old laptop. I don't have... It's a completely janky streaming setup. What can I say? Keep falling in and out of love. Yeah, when I did the last Christmas one, I had Bud Cam, but of course that was on my big PC, and that thing would have had no trouble streaming multiple sources. But this laptop is on its last legs. You've spun also, Kristen Dunst is in this movie too, and I'm gonna kill her for some reason. She was rude to me at the Thanksgiving dinner. Someone left a super chat? Are you supposed to stream on a wired connection? So that would have been another difference for Christmas. That computer was all on the Ethernet. Oh yeah, CPU utilization is 58%. That's not good. That's probably the real issue, not the internet. When did this start? 1 hour ago. Okay, that's not too bad. What did I say, 11? So 2 more hours? I think I could do this in 2 hours. The hardest part is like soldering these wires to the circuit board, but there's not as many on this one because it's the right. So okay, so there's that. So we flip it over. Oh, I bought some of that Tony Cachery's jambalaya at Menards. Ugh. You ever like you ever see like food and like you can just smell the salt? It was like that. So I was like, ugh. So I only used like half of the. I actually didn't use half of the seasoning packet. I'm like, this is way. I know this is way too much salt. And then I read the ingredients, and I'm like, oh, now I really know it's too much salt. And I cooked it in my what's the thing? I'm sorry, Instant Pot, which is just the politically correct way to say it, a pressure cooker, and does a really good job with rice. I bought the chicken breasts at Quick Trip. Well, the weather was bad, so I went to the closest Quick Trip, like 5 blocks away. Pretty slushy outside. $12 bottles of gin and not a single bottle of tonic. Raising CPIO, yeah. The second time I streamed on Sunday, I want to say I lowered the bitrate to 2500. I don't know if that made a difference in the evening or not. I don't know. Like maybe people like the streams, I would actually like put some effort into them. But right now it's zero production value, just like my other videos. Like, unless I'm making a pasta movie, I care more about the build than the cameras. That was always a point of fighting when we did the show, was like, the show was about you filming stuff. Yeah, but you filming stuff is getting in the way of me building stuff. And you know, it's like when the Oreo cookies, or you got peanut butter in my chocolate bar, or whatever they say. Well, Gabriel, it's yeah, that's just like the maximum speed. Like when you have like bus arbitration or anything else, that's going to lower all the speeds. So it's more of a maximum theoretical speed. Let's see. Oh yeah, check out this. See that slit there? See that slit? See, it was meant to be. You know, our love was meant to be the kind of love that lasts forever, 'cause we did it all for the glory of love. At Cobra Kai. You know what's fun? If you go to Southwest Wisconsin, like where Spooky Pinball is, because I go down there like, I don't know, every other month, or depending on what the schedule's like, but if you go to the gas stations down there, they actually have the Cobra Kai beers. Like, you know, the ones that, who's the guy, like the main guy, the blonde guy, the anti-hero? He's always drinking like those Coors Banquet beers that look like little hand grenades. You can actually find those down Southwest Wisconsin. So I always buy them when I go down there. And then I jump in my Trans Am and like drive around drunk and stuff. You know, it's really fun. Then I kick kids. Get that, YouTube? Commodore 64 botnet. You know, there's something really popular for the Atari. It's called FujiNet. A lot of people have them. I want to say it's like an SIO device that has an ESP32 on it. They connect to the internet. I see a lot of those at shows now. I'm sure the Commodore has something similar. You just fused You're the Inspiration with the Glory of Love. That's right, because it's from the same group, right? Chicago? Wait. Crap. the same. Okay, I might not have the name of the group right, but I'm pretty sure it's the same group. Oh, it could be like a trance DJ techno mix. You're the meaning in my life. You're the inspiration. I did it all for the power of love. Bring meaning to my life. You're the inspiration, like a knight in shining armor. See, there you go. I'm like a trance DJ. Watch out, dead mouse. All right. Actually, I think we did a righty on Sunday evening, didn't we? Ugh. I gotta do some more code tweaks tomorrow. I'm working on a new pinball machine as well. So it's like I try to work on that most of the time, and it's like, oh, Ben, we found this on the Texas Chainsaw game, and I like to tell people that is the finest cannibalism-related pinball machine ever made. Because I did it all for the glory of love. Do you ever face content creation fatigue? Yeah, Solder King, that's why I stopped doing my show. So in the past I did. And so I like making stuff, but sometimes, you know, it just gets overwhelming. And then if you're talking about like something like YouTube, like it's just like this continual beast you have to feed, and then the second you stop, you get thrown off the treadmill. Then you end up like Lindsay Lohan, I guess. Do you know Alice DJ? No, I don't know who that is. How many of the pinball machines you work on get made? Well, I've coded 2 commercially released pinball machines, America's Most Haunted, and then the latest one is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the theme. The first one that I built was the Bill Paxton machine. That one was never manufactured. That was just a one-off, but it actually led to me doing stuff in that space. Oh, sounds like the printer is done printing. My uncle had the Terminator pinball machine. Yeah, that would be a Terminator 2. Yes. You've always compared me to Lindsay Lohan, huh? All gingers look alike. Eurodance popular in America? I don't think it was. Yeah, Xenon was cool. Alright. Printing the triggers in white because it was already loaded and I am being lazy. Star Trek Next Generation is considered a really great pinball machine. The main hang-up people have is that since it's so complicated with the teleporting balls, it's difficult to keep them running. So it's a very complicated machine. That was back when you had, it was so cheap to get actors to like do voice for pinball. It's a lot different than now. Like a lot of times you could do it for just, all you had to do was like get them a machine. Like the whole cast did custom voice for that game. And they all got a game. They all got a machine. So like Brent Spiner, Gates McFadden, LeVar Burton, all somewhere have that machine. It's probably like hidden in the basement or in the garage. Have you ever met Bill Gates? No, I've never met Bill Gates. I run into Microsoft employees a lot, though. And I did get some feedback once. And, because, you know, sometimes companies don't like it when you modify their stuff. And the feedback I got was, quote, "We like you. You buy a ton of our shit." I think that was probably at E3. That was either like E3 or maybe CES. Yeah. There's Microsoft employees all over the place. One more connection. Yeah, maybe I could get like one of those fake Guinness World Records, like most game controllers ever bought by a single person. Oh, that's not good. What cigars have you enjoyed lately? I usually get, oh shoot, kind of fat fingered that one. Yeah, hold that thought. To make sure I didn't mess up something. Oh yeah, Apple, yeah. In my limited experience, like, of all the big evil companies, Microsoft is like one of the least evil. And it's always the fuzzy hippie companies that are the worst, like Apple, Disney, or Nintendo. Ooh. I think I might have, like, fat fingered that one. I might have to test that one prematurely to make sure that that resistor wasn't moved too far. I like how Ben makes Wisconsin makes sense. Does it make sense though? Yeah, I bought an adaptive controller a couple years ago to check it out, and the feedback I've gotten from people is that it's not an all-in-one solution, and you have to add so many modules to it to make it really do anything. And granted, these controllers are very niche, single-handed. But there's actually a lot of reasons people can only use one hand. It's not just like bombs. There's quite a few reasons. And that's another thing, like, with the adaptive controller, like, you have to plug in. You have to basically plug in a module for everything. So the thing looks like 3 squids in an orgy by the time you're done. And, it's all these, like, 1/8 headphone jacks. And some of it, like the triggers aren't even analog. Like, so the analog triggers just become, like, on-off. So some of it's kind of limited. I think there's other stuff Microsoft does just in software that's really cool, too. Like, they have assist play. So if you have trouble with the game, another person can have another controller, and they can operate some of the controls if you're having trouble with it. So you can basically, like, double a controller across, or 2 different controllers being held by 2 different people can perform the same actions for, like, a assistive control. That kind of stuff is cool. And I guess Sony did it later as well. But I did it first. That's right. Blah, 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 blah. Have you been to Great Taste of the Midwest? Great Taste of the Midwest. I don't know what that is. So, no, I have never been there. Am I ready for VCF? VCF is like 5 months away, so I'm not even thinking about it. But I guess I'll be ready when the time comes. I've been to the convention center that I said I've been to before. That's actually the same convention center where the Chicago Pinball Expo is now. Schaumburg Renaissance Convention Center in Schaumburg, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago. And it's kind of like MGC, like when it's no longer like in a hotel, you lose the magic of carpet. So that's a negative. I'm going to bring a whole bunch more stuff to give away, though. Just like always. You don't pay with money. What's this? An Atari 800 computer, but all the games you play cause you to die? This is like some Ray Bradbury hack. Oh no, don't you want my free computer items? No, because I'm not a hack. Alright, I'm going to test this one before I go too far with it. Oh, cool, Brandon. That's awesome. I am glad you went and got your degree. You know, I've actually gotten that feedback quite a few times. And then I would be like, hey, I started watching your show in high school. Then I went to college and got my 4-year degree, and now I'm an engineer. And then I would be like, oh my God, I've been doing this show long enough that that can happen during the time I've been doing the show. And then I feel old. But that's life. You'll be having fun with the drinking games? Pico for controller emulation? Have people done that? I mean, you'd have to crack the licensing, I guess, but people have done that too. I think the Pico is really cool. I want to well, I've already done a lot with it, but I'd like to do more. I just wish the IDEs were a little easier to use, at least on Windows. It's like they make it deliberately obtuse on Windows because they hate Windows or something. Like, I find that the easiest way to use it is with the Arduino interface, because it just works. Speaking of it just works, let's make sure this thing still works. I've been watching you since high school? Oh my gosh. Yeah, sometimes it feels like I've been around since the dawn of time. Well, my first website was on GeoCities, so yes. I always laugh when people online act like the internet wasn't invented until 2008. Or oh, there was no internet before YouTube. It's like, oh man. Revision 3. Oh yeah, the GeoCities site. Yeah. Yeah, I had the GeoCities site first. And then Classic Game Room, which was part of GameSpy, asked me if I wanted to be hosted on their site. Once people had discovered my my projects, and then I was there for about 3 years, and then I got my own .com, and I've been there. Oh Jesus Christ! I just really God, benheck.com. That was 20 years ago this month that I started that. Oh my Lord. Jeez. If I could put time in a bottle, the best thing that I like to do. Oh no, my remember I was a graphic artist. My GeoCity site, I had well, it was 2000, so everything was skeuomorphic design, and so yeah, it had like wood grain textures and metal textures, and I mean, it looks obsolete now, but that's pretty decent. Let's see. Up, down, left, right, left bumper. Oh, right, that's not hooked up yet. A, B, X, Y, whatever that button is, share button. If I could turn back time. You know, I think the thing, of all the things that have ever made me feel old, I'm 48, I'm sure, well, you guys probably know how old I am, but I was at this bar, cigar bar I'd like to go to here in Monona, and I was, you know what it was? It was that crappy Bill Cosby sweater I always wore on the show, ugly brown one, and I still wear it all the time. I love that sweater. And the bartender, she's like, "Oh, I love your sweater." And I'm like, "You know, the sweater's probably older than you are." And then we did the math, and I'm like, "Oh my God." And I'm like, I didn't think it would be true. I've had that since 1998. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I think when you start feeling old is like when you have like cousins or nieces or nephews that you would like bounce on your knee in the hospital, and then you're out drinking with them at Christmas. That's when you really start to feel old. Lydia's not 21 yet, but you know, I guess when in a few more years, whenever that is. Vapor cooling, I don't know, vapor cooling's in a lot of stuff, so I guess I like it. I am older than you, Ben. Yes, some things are older than me, like dinosaurs. Yeah, I was born in 75. In the wagon of a traveling show. I think one thing that's kind of interesting about being like my age is that you're old enough to remember things like rotary phones and black and white televisions and record players and 8-tracks and all that junk and leaded gasoline. But you're also young enough to understand computers and not be scared of them. Unlike the boomers. Well, some boomers. I think that means we can appreciate, well, probably millennials too to some extent, but like we can appreciate how far technology has come because we've actually seen it. Although it's interesting, like so I've noticed this with pinball, like young people like Gen Z, they're actually really fascinated with like mechanical things. Like, ooh, look, it's a pinball machine. That looks like something from like, you know, from like World War I or something. And it's kind of interesting. Like, they're kind of fascinated with the romanticism of mechanical machines, just like the boomers were fascinated with like the Wild West. Or then if you're like a Gen Xer, like, ooh, I'm going to play Medal of Honor Allied Assault because, you know, your grandparents would talk to you about, like, World War II. So it's kind of like this, kind of like nostalgic voyeurism lag. A cassette tape icon for recording. Yeah. April Fool's Day was quite the day. It's kind of funny how many programs still use a floppy disk icon for save. That's still pretty prevalent. I guess Steve Jobs was right about that. (9:19). Okay. That means I have 1 hour and 40 minutes according to my own deadline to finish this. Or finish these. These nuts. My grandfather talked about it once. Yeah, I think it was definitely more... Oh, no, I shouldn't use the word kosher, even though I just said it. The one you definitely don't want to ask about is Vietnam. Just don't ask. I did a school project once. I interviewed my great-uncle who was captured during the Battle of the Bulge. So I did a whole school report on his experience being a Nazi prisoner of war. It was pretty interesting. And he said at the end, after they lost the war, they basically just opened the gates and let all the prisoners walk out. So they had to find their own way back to like the American units. And then of course he said everyone was trying to find a Luger pistol, just like in Band of Brothers. That was my grandma's brother. And both of my grandparent or grandfathers, they both had what was considered defense industry jobs. Like my Irish grandpa worked at Carnation plant, for instance. So neither of them got sent over during the war, and that's why I'm here. Yeah. Was Holland invaded during World War II? I don't actually remember that. Yeah, X is fun. That's all I'll say about it here. East Coast conventions? No, I don't go to any of the computer... people have told me a lot of times that the Vintage Computer Fest East is fun. I haven't been. I've been to MagFest, and then I've been to Maker Faire New York a couple times. Those are the only ones I've been to. I used to love... I mean, I don't know. Well, of course, I've seen all the Louis Rossmann videos, so maybe I'm spoiled. I used to love going to New York. New York City is like my favorite major American city. So I would always be happy to go to conventions there. It's such a fun place. Parts of it smell like wet sewage, though. It's like you could be in Times Square and like spinning around, looking at the opulence, you know, like a character from a Disney movie, and then you walk 10 feet to the left, and then it smells like wet sewage. I guess that's a metaphor for life, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I haven't been to New York City ever since they. Yeah, it used to be. I can't speak to it now, but it doesn't seem like it's probably what it used to be. I freaking love New York City. Like, what was the Metro card? Like $1.50 a day or something like that. It was so cheap, and you could go anywhere in the city, and you know, criminals couldn't afford to live there, so it was pretty safe. Yeah, yeah. I would like walk. I would walk around like Central Park and like, screw it. You know, I never felt like I was in danger or anything. And, yeah, I don't know. It's something. I don't know. There's something about it. Like I know, like I sound like a character from like How I Met Your Mother, but it really was like a magical place. The one thing I used to love to do in New York was I would try to go to all the Spider-Man 2 pizza restaurants. The Joe's Pizza he gets fired from at the beginning of Spider-Man 2, the real Spider-Man 2, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, not the Marvel one. That's a real place. There's 3 of them, and it's really, really good pizza. And the one in the movie is, it's just west of Washington Park. So it's like kind of on the west side of Manhattan, just north of like Tribeca. Spider-Man 2 is one of my favorite movies, and I'm a huge Sam Raimi fan, so I was like, I have to find the Spider-Man 2 pizza restaurant from Spider-Man 2. And again, it's a chain, so there's multiple Joe's Pizzas you can go to, but technically the one from the movie is... I have the address on my phone. I guess I can look it up, because I have it starred. Yeah, I'm sure New York City is still really cool. It just, you know, things have changed, but I would recommend any like American go there because it's like the quintessential major American city. Let me zoom in on my New York pins. Okay, Joe's Pizza is located. Yes, it's just west of Washington Square Park. And so it's kind of, yeah, it's basically in Greenwich Village. And it's basically on the corner of, is that 6th Avenue and Bleecker Street. So in the movie, they dressed the corner store as Joe's Pizza. And in reality, it's a gelato shop, or at least the last time I was there. The actual Joe's Pizza is like 2 storefronts down from the location. In real life. But yeah, everything else is there. So that's actually, you know, where the guy's like, "Stop, Peter, you're late! You're fired!" That's where that was. And there's another one in Brooklyn, I want to say, and then I want to say there's a 3rd location. I've never been to that one, though. Yeah, I mean, we've had a ton of inflation in the States, and then you have your Aussie dollars, which are like, what, 65 cents? So, yeah, that's going to be rough. I mean, it could be worse, though. It could be England, right? Ugh. There's this guy I know from New Zealand. He was visiting. He was at the pinball convention a couple years ago. David, and he was like, "Yo, mate, I gotta say, visiting America right now is pretty rough with the Aussie bucks." I mean, he's well off, but you know, still, a sting's a sting. All right, the last one. I did not wreck the resistor, but I gotta be more careful this time. Maybe I should get my super peepers. Azif Mandif, was that the actor in the movie? I'm trying to picture him in my mind. It's the guy who rips the sticker off his helmet, right? Well, the Australian dollar has always been historically weak, but I think it's even weaker now. The same thing with New Zealand dollar. Well, yeah, didn't Japan just recently they have positive interest rates now? So, what would that do to their dollar? Wouldn't that make it a little stronger if they actually raise their interest rates? No, wait, no, it'd probably make it weaker, wouldn't it? That I don't know. $300 for all meals in 1 week. Wow, that's pretty good. Hey, don't be mean about the Netherlands, okay? Wake up, dead people. All right, I got to do this again. It's the Ben Heck stream where I talk about anything but electronics. Today's episode, McDonald's, New York City, and I guess that's it so far. You know what I liked about that, the first Marvel Spider-Man game on PlayStation? The one from like 4 years ago or whatever. Like they had Doc Ock, and so like in the Sam Raimi movie, it's like, oh, I made these AI super arms, and then also there's a fusion reactor. It's like, you know, the arms are like impressive enough, and then if you've never played the video game, in that one, Doc Ock's, he's trying to make advanced prosthesis for people. That's like his altruistic goal before he turns evil. So the super smart arms kind of make more sense. But I guess if you're making a Hollywood movie, you have to have like a big glowing bomb or something. You know, so you can have a big glowing bomb. And even then, like, the science is... It's the same junk science as Back to the Future. It's like, you don't get electricity from a big ball of fusion. You'd have to, you know, you had to cover it with a Dyson sphere, or, well, you wouldn't do that. You put a steam reactor over it. It's like your Nimitz-class aircraft carrier is not powered by plutonium, it's powered by steam. Which is created from the plutonium. So really, Doc Brown making his train that runs off steam, that's actually a lot more realistic for how you'd make a plutonium-powered... Maybe that's what he did. He had like a little Chernobyl in there. Oh wait, this is the middle one, so this one goes to ground. See, I could never do this regularly because I would forget all the stupid stories I told last time. Like, I'm pretty sure I talked about Dyson spheres on Sunday. But I wouldn't remember that a week from now. And then I would start talking about Dyson spheres again. And then he'd be like, is that a sphere made out of crappy over-engineered vacuum cleaners? It's like, no. No, it's not. Yeah, Spider-Man 2 is great. You know what it had that almost none of the Marvel movies had? Is it had humanism. Like the part where Aunt May gives him the $20 bill and he doesn't take it, and then she starts to cry. You didn't have stuff like that. Like in the Marvel movies, are all like just jokey. It's like, oh, because you got like Tom Holland, Peter Parker, and it's like, oh, I'm Peter Parker. I'm just an average kid from Queens, and I'm best friends with a billionaire. You know, like all like the Stan Lee, like, oh, I'm a poor college student, all that stuff. That's all gone because, you know, he has like a $5 billion nano suit now. It's like, oh, Aunt May is dating like the second in command of $1 trillion Stark Corporation. And then in Sam Raimi Spider-Man, Aunt May gets behind a mortgage since she has to move into a crappy apartment. It's like, which one is more humanistic? Alright, better get the peepers out. Yeah, you know what else I love in like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man is like he always puts in like these really over-exaggerated like reaction shots of pedestrians. And it's like a Cecil B. DeMille movie, like when like they part the Red Sea, and there's a random shot of like 3 women, like watching it, and like their hair is like blowing in the wind, and their clothes are blowing in the wind. And Sam Raimi put shots just like that in the Spider-Man movies. Like Spider-Man like swoops down off the building with Aunt May, and then the camera tracks through, and there's like these 2 hot chicks that swoop into the view, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's Spider-Man!" And like that was just awesome. I just love that shit because it's that's what so many movies miss nowadays is like they miss cheesiness. Like the right amount of cheese makes stuff so much more memorable. Like look at how memeable like the first 3 Spider-Man movies were. Like, does anyone meme the Tom Holland movies? No. I mean, they're perfectly fine movies, but you know, they don't have like the cheese that really sticks in your teeth. Same thing with like the Star Wars prequels. There's a lot of stupid stuff, but you don't forget it. Since you were 12, oh my God, oh Jesus Christ! Thanks, Roberto. It makes me feel really old, but I'm honored. Very good. Damn. So, how old are you now, Roberto? If you don't mind me asking. Yeah, you know, I remember when the first Spider-Man came out in 2002, strangely enough, like, a lot of the criticism was that it had, like, an underwhelming score, which is kind of crazy because it was written by Danny Elfman. Although now, if you listen to it, it seems a lot better than the kind of stuff we get now because you don't remember anything now. But yeah, even for the mid-2000s, I mean, I hate to say this about a Danny Elfman score, but yeah, it could have been better. That was probably one of the weaker points. Versus like if you rewatch like Lord of the Rings, like the trilogy, like, I mean, first of all, it holds up fantastically, and one of the major things you notice is just how damn good the soundtrack is. Like, there's actually like themes to it. Like the music changes, you know, like Sam is talking about like the Shire, and then the Shire theme kicks in, and it's like you just don't hear that anymore. Like where the music is like part of the tapestry of the story. Now you get like the Avengers, which is the Avengers. I don't know. Well, maybe it was the cart before the horse, but like the Avengers music, or maybe no. What was it? PUBG. Yeah, the PUBG. Like the lobby music sounds exactly like the Avengers. That was probably on purpose. This guy's to blame for becoming an electronic engineer. Oh darn! We're all getting old. 32. Oh, I can't remember. Did Roberto say how old he was now? I assume like mid-20s. Oh, 20. Awesome. Yeah, didn't they have like 3 villains in Spider-Man 3? Yeah, Spider-Man. Oh no, Sandman, Evil, New Goblin, and then Venom. You know, they almost made Spider-Man 4. Like, they were actually building sets, and then they pulled the plug and then rebooted it. It was going to be John Malkovich as Vulture. So that would have been like Spider-Man 4 in like 2011. Although, then they made, what, Spider-Man Homecoming, and that had Vulture in it as well. And it was, of course, Michael friggin' Keaton with a really cool jacket. That was a good movie. I liked it. Especially the scene, the prom scene, where he's got the gun in the car. That was good. Although, if you think about it, it's just a variation of the Thanksgiving scene from the first Spider-Man movie. Something has come to my attention. Oh, sorry, the camera's moved back. No, I wasn't in marketing. I was a graphic artist. Well, I guess it's kind of like marketing. Yeah, I probably would have been a dead end had I kept doing it. But through a series of strange events, I do this now for a living. What was the after credit scene in Homecoming? I don't remember what it was, but apparently nothing came of it. I thought those movies are pretty good. Although, what's the one with the multiverse? No Way Home, was that the one? I also kind of liked how that movie was a tacit admission the Sam Raimi movies were the best. Although Andrew Garfield, his movies were crap because they're written by what's his face, Alex Kurtzman, but he was a perfectly fine Spider-Man. He was fine. What's her face was fine. I mean, all the actors in those movies were fine. And you know what? I get really dorky here. Like movies like the 2 movies with Andrew Garfield. Those are the only movies in which the CGI spider suit actually looked like it was made of cloth. Like they had like wind and ripple animations on it and simulations. Because usually when they make like a superhero, like it's basically like body paint. Like it's just muscle, like a nude body almost. Which makes sense because, you know, superheroes are... That's why Superman's underwear is on the outside. But in Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, they actually tried to make it look like, oh, this is a suit that he's wearing, like when he's flying and stuff. Like it actually acts like fabric. And the part where he can't save Gwen Stacy, that was pretty good. Spoiler warning. Oh, Super Chat. Oh, wow, $20. Thank you. My brother had a brain issue in like 2007, but it can only use his left hand. He doesn't really play newer games. What's the oldest game to be made a one-handed controller for? I started 360. I no longer make them for that system. The oldest system would technically be the Xbox One. These core controllers, like the one you see here, they're Xbox Series. They actually are backwards compatible with the Xbox One. So you could take this controller and connect it to an Xbox One from 2013. Conversely, you could take an Xbox 2013 controller and connect it with a 2020 Xbox Series X. And then I don't make PlayStation controllers because there's a lot of reasons they're hard to mod. But if Xbox works, you can go to benheck.com and there's a link on the upper left. That's how people order these. Yeah. These controllers also have Bluetooth, so you can use them with, Android, tablets, computers, PCs, etc. Blah blah blah. Or give them up to things using a USB-C cable. That's how I test it on the computer. Thank you very much for your super chat. It will. I will buy Bud some greenies with it. How about that? I'll promise that. Superman Returns. Oh yeah, that was. Oh god, what was that? Like 2006? Yeah, I had a lot of hope for that movie, but it wasn't great. And the thing that sucks is that they rolled. Warner Brothers spent like a decade trying to make a new Superman movie. And then what happens when they finally make a movie like Superman Returns with Brandon Ruth and Bosworth, all of the money they spent not making a Superman movie for the prior decade gets rolled into that budget, and so the movie like looks less successful than it is. So when you watch that movie, you're like, this movie doesn't look like it cost $250 million. It's like that's because it didn't. Like that, like the $15 million they had to pay Nicolas Cage to not be Superman, that was part of that budget. I mean, it's an alright movie, but it didn't seem like I recall it not having very much action. Shout out Bud. Yeah, he's here someplace. Adventures in Pinball Engineering. I probably still will. I was gonna make a making of video for Texas Chainsaw, like showing my how I program it, like my tool chain, so to speak, like all the parts, like Adobe Illustrator and After Effects and all the stuff I use in Unity. Maybe if I have time to start do that. I couldn't do it before because it's a licensed theme, so I couldn't show anything until it had actually been revealed. And that's the same thing with the next pin as well, because it's also licensed. Yeah, that'd probably be about the closest thing to it. Even then, I don't know. Actually, Spooky might not even want me to show that. I don't know. But I do use a lot of that Adobe stuff, like the light shows are done in After Effects, and I made a custom program to basically it converts AVI files to RGB data series that go over like APA 102 2-wire serial RGB LEDs. And then, you take the movie into like Premiere and you like slice it up and add sound effects. I actually put quite a bit of sound effects into that one. And I managed to get the apartment I lived in Verona had these really cool windows that were like spring loaded, and when you open the window or close it, like it was like this spring, like a spring on either side of the window, and it was like in a chamber, so it kind of like this cool reverb. And so before I moved, I recorded it on, I don't know, whatever I had to record on at the time. And I kept that sound effect for all these years. Well, I keep all my sound effects. And I was like, I'm going to try to work this spring window sound effect into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre pinball machine. And I did! We have multiple things lit at the left scoop. There's an additional right flipper button, which is used for like selection stuff. When you push that button to change what the left scoop does, it goes... And that's the sound of my window. Because I kind of want it to be like Mega Man, where we know when the blocks appear, disappear, like, right? I kind of wanted something like that, so I tweaked the window sound to sound kind of like the Mega Man blocks. So yeah, it's always fun to like work that in. There's also a sound effect of, if you follow any of my old movies that I used to make, there's sound effect called Robot Fart from The Adventurous that also worked in also worked in the game. So it's just like indulgent inside jokes, I guess. But you know, is a big part of the experience. Although the game needs more women screaming, so I had to add more screaming women. It should just be like screaming women wall to wall. Off topic. Thank you for the super chat. Any plans for a new film? You know, for years and years, we were going to do Posthumous Man 3 in 2021. I mean, it was going to be called Posthumous Men because there was going to be more of them, just like aliens. But then, you know, things happened and just kind of got out of the groove. I was working on another movie idea with another guy that I know. It's actually the guy who owns the company that does the Labyrinth, Van S. It was gonna be like kind of like it was gonna be like a horror film. It was gonna be like a movie about like women and ghosts, or like, you know, like, oh, I'm scared, you know, well, you know, like a horror film, you know. But we never got that one off the ground. But we were trying to for a while, but realized probably never will. But we had a whole script. I do not have the original Bill Paxton pinball machine that I made. I sold that to SS Billiards. They had it's a arcade up in Minneapolis. They had a fundraiser, like a GoFundMe or something, where they're like, save the arcade. And then the guy was like, oh, I've got some extra money. And then he asked if he could buy the Bill Paxton machine. And I'm like, well, you know what? More people will get to play it at your location than they ever will, like, in my shop. And then, of course, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, I always just build another one. That's always my line. I know Charlie from Spooky Pinball was like, oh, that game should be here. I'm like, you didn't build it, I did. It's not a spooky game. I mean, yeah, some of its DNA trickled down, but it was a bend joint. You know, it's weird. That was like one of the, at the time I was like, this is such a stupidly, insanely complex project, but look what it brought. So I guess the moral of the story is, well, the moral of the story is, don't strip your wires in the wrong direction. Great. Yeah, you know, if someone seems where it could lead. And if it's a Bill Paxton pinball machine. Just dirty drawers. No. More hot glue. Yeah, Beer Liquor, it's entirely possible that I'm dropping frames. Oh, crap. We're up to 83% on the CPU. Oh, it's dropping down. Yeah, I know. I'm telling you, dudes, it's the computer. I don't think it's the internet. You guys can deal with the stuttering while I find a black marker. Close enough. If I see this, I'll know what I meant. I think. Just tell her it's from Creed. She'll know what that means. -1 production values. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, who knows? Maybe I'd be too lazy to make a movie nowadays. It's been, God, how was, what, 16 years ago the last time I did it? Man, it's been that long. I used to do that crap all the time, and then now I haven't. In fact, let's see, 16... Yeah, I spent more time not making movies than I ever did making movies. Ugh. If I could store time in a bottle. Alright, so we need 2 caps, 2 triggers, a gray cap. It's an artistic choice. Yeah, that's right. A closeted Swiftie. Yeah, you figured it out. Ben should have a drink. I am drinking. This is, I'm on my 3rd beer. I'm not drinking very fast because, you know, I'm building and talking, but... You know, for me, 3 High Lifes is like 3 glasses of water. It's not really going to do anything. That's my secret. I'm always drunk. Alright, let's add... Oh, wait, sorry. There we go. Just think, if I had the webcam going, the stream would be even worse. Can you even imagine that? Can you, like, imagine like a Star Fox frame rate? Slippy, like, yelling in the background. Oh no, help me, Fox! I'm lame! Speaking of lame, I was really disappointed with the follow-up to A Fox in Space. Doing it, and they lost the soul. It's like, I watched it, I'm like, this is it? This is what you spent like 6 years doing? I mean, hell, if I made another Possum movie, it would be a banger, guaranteed. I mean, we've discussed, obviously, the plot. I mean, we had plot ideas. Well, it kind of changes because at one point, Possum 3 was going to be a ripoff of Westworld. And by that, I mean the Yul Brynner movie, because that was before the HBO show was a thing. But then we're like, oh, the HBO show was a thing, so people are just going to think we ripped this off instead of ripping off the movie. Yeah. So then Michael Crichton's just like, I'm just going to make the same story again, but with dinosaurs. And it'll be 1,000,000 times more successful. Yeah, I'm trying to think, what was it? Well, there was like, I think we came up with like 5 or 6 gags that we wanted to have in it, and like lines of dialogue, like really stupid lines of dialogue, like even dumber than the last one. And like me and my friends will actually like quote the lines of dialogue for the movie that never got made. You know what? I want to say this one time at band camp. I think it was on the way back. Yeah, it was on the way back from Maker Faire, Detroit, 2015, and we got stuck in that really terrible traffic around the south side of Lake Michigan. I'm sure Midwesterners know what I'm talking about. And then I remember like Max, Felix, and I being stuck in traffic, and like we also were coming up with ideas for Possumus 3. And one of the ideas that kind of was persistent was in whatever the resort is for Possumus 3. I think it was gonna be like Westworld, where like you go to the possum resort to live out the fantasies of being attacked by giant possums. So we were going to have a scene where there was going to be like this couple camping, and the woman was going to be like, "Oh no, it's a giant possum!" And then you see that the possum is like this robot, so it's like kind of like role play or something, you know, just like Westworld. And then I think there was going to be like an iron possum, like a possum suit that you can put on and like fight the possums like Iron Man. But one of the ideas that was pretty consistent was we wanted to have the William Taft Possum Restaurant. So William Taft was a U.S. president, of course. He was famous for being like really fat. When was he president? He was before. I think it was right before Woodrow Wilson. And at his inaugural banquet or whatever, they had possums that they ate, and so he was like this possum-loving president, but he loved to kill them and eat them. And this part of history is real, by the way. He made a stuffed animal called the Billy Possum, like the William Possum, to compete with the teddy bear, because the teddy bear actually refers to Teddy Roosevelt. Because Teddy Roosevelt loved to kill animals as well. But then someone was like, "Oh, look," and they chained a bear up to a tree. Kind of like in Jurassic Park, where they have the chained up goat. And Teddy Roosevelt was like, "I'm not going to shoot a chained up animal." And everyone's like, "Oh, he's so compassionate. Let's make the teddy bear. It's a bear that you can hug." And I'm not making this up. This is actually history. So that all is history. That's all real. So then our idea was a rustic resort would become like a possum, like it would be like Jurassic Park with possums. Like, okay, I'm starting to remember the plot now. So when you're at this possum park, and yeah, I know people are going to bring up the Goofy movie. There was going to be the William Taft Possum Restaurant, and then we wanted to have an animatronic of William Taft, and it would be like, "Welcome to the William Taft Possum Restaurant," and there was going to be an instructional video talking about how the possums are cooked, and it was going to be like, of course, yeah, we had all this figured out. This scene was all figured out. It was like, "First, you select your possum you'd like to eat. That one, Mommy! Then the creature is gently released from its mortal coil." And then it cuts to a shot behind the restaurant of a car driving over the possum and killing it. "Then you can enjoy your possum cooked any way you like." And then later on in the movie, when everything was like a smoldering ruin, like you would see the like half-destroyed Five Nights at Freddy's-esque ruined animatronic, and it'd be like, welcome to Possumus Pork. You know, that would happen. So that was the scene we had. Okay, I remember our major plot. This, I think Max and I came up with this. So we were going to come up with a stupid thing where we were going to have a future event that took place in the past. So it was going to be like, in 2019, global warming killed all possums. But then, this is really stupid. I'm just going to warn you. Global warming killed all possums. And because of that, there was no natural predator to eat garbage. So then the world becomes overpopulated with garbage, kind of like WALL-E. And so what they have to do is they have to figure out how to get rid of the garbage. So so the scientists, they find a possum that's like encased in maple syrup. Like it was like licking a jar of maple syrup and then got encased in it. And that's where they get the possum DNA. And then, oh yeah, it was going to be called Project Excelsior. And so they bring the possums back to life so the possums can eat all the garbage. So the earth is no longer covered with garbage. And then the possums are then put into a sanctuary after they've saved the planet. And the sanctuary is Possum Park or Rustic Resort or something. And so people go there and they're like, they're eating garbage. They do eat garbage. Why'd you do this? Do, 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 do. But then, of course, the possums turn evil. So, yes, that was the Max and I version of Possumus 3. And that's about as far as we got. I can't imagine possums taste very good. Armadillos, I don't think you'd want to eat one of those. Those things are like really diseased. Like, I think you can actually get leprosy from them. I don't think possum would taste very good. So anyway, the insane story I just told you was what you come up with when you're stuck in traffic for 2 hours around the south bend of Lake Michigan. Lab-grown mammoth meat? Well, I probably will have the opportunity to do that. Lab-grown human meat? It's cannibalism without the murder. I don't know. I mean, because you can like chew on the inside of your mouth or bite your fingers, and like, you know, that's what human tastes like. I would totally eat like cloned mammoth meat. Why not? That'd be cool. I mean, I'm pretty sure they actually cloning a mammoth is actually probably pretty feasible because they're not that old to begin with. They're like pretty well preserved. Let's see, 2.5 hours. Actually, yeah, I think it's actually faster when you do it at the same time because you're like duplicating tasks. Okay, so we need there and there. Mammoth meat. Do, 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 do. Do people actually eat elephants? Aren't real, and neither are birds. crap. I barely have enough of these. Ugh, I hate this part. I need to make a better part for this. I don't have to assemble these stupid D-pads. There's gotta be a better way. Why hasn't the Jurassic Park movies ever had people eat dino meat? I don't know. I would call that question and raise you, why don't people in Jurassic Park movies just shoot the dinosaurs? That seems like a really easy solution. It's like, especially like, what was it? Like, in the new ones with Chris Pratt, it's like, oh no, it's my best raptor, Bluey. Oh, Bluey, you're my favorite dinosaur. And then in the second movie, like, somebody shoots Bluey with a single, like, looks like a 9mm, maybe a Glock 40, and Bluey goes down. Like, oh no, Bluey! Bluey got shot with a single pistol bullet and he's gonna die. And it's like, these things are wimps! How come you guys didn't shoot them before? It's like, if a single pistol bullet can almost kill Bluey, then in the first movie that guy had a shotgun, probably with slugs, that would have torn those raptors in half. But no! He's just gonna sit there and slowly unfold his stock and say, clever girl. It's like, what, was the dinosaur clever or were you just stupid? It's kind of like, you know, like in The Last Jedi where she puts the ship into hyperspace and that tears through another ship and it basically destroys all combat in Star Wars universe. It's the same kind of thing where, like, you have like 50 Jurassic Park movies where no one bothers to shoot a dinosaur, and then when you finally do shoot a dinosaur, you show that the dinosaur goes down like a bitch with a single little 9mm bullet. And it's like, why weren't we shooting these things before? Sorry, that really bothers me. He tried it and got owned. Yeah. Jurassic Park 2. Oh, I mean The Lost World with Julianne Moore. You know, I got a personal grudge against Jurassic World. We were on a work trip. I think we were in Austin, Texas. Yeah, I think it was for the Freescale Semiconductor Conference, which was the best conference ever. And that was after Allison had left the show, so that was when Max was on the show. And I want to say that was his first work trip. And he flew in like later in the day than I did. I don't remember why. And so there's some other guys I knew in Austin, and I'm like, let's all go see. Well, and Max is a huge movie buff, so I knew Max would want to. I was like, Max, let's go to the Alamo Draft House. So I knew he'd get a kick out of that. So we all go to the Alamo Draft House in Austin. Not the big one. It was one of the smaller ones in Austin. Because Austin has like the Alamo Draft House Grand, I think it's called. But anyway, so we're watching the movie and we're like, this movie isn't very good. But then Max starts to fall asleep, right? And we actually got in trouble. Like one of the employees comes up and they're like, sir, this is technically a bar, which means you cannot sleep during the movie. And we're like, what? It's like, this is stupid. And then I'm like, oh, God damn it. Max is like, guys, I had to like, I don't know, he had like an early flight or a late flight. For some reason, he was way more tired than anyone else. So the whole third act of that dumb movie, I was like, 10 minutes to make sure he woke up. And that's one of the reasons I don't like that movie. But that was my memory. How many I only just cracked my fourth. Having 4 highlights, that's not even buzzed for me. I mean, I'll talk about crazy crap no matter how many beers I've had. It doesn't make a difference. All right, we're almost done. Yeah, see, I guess I'm pretty good at streaming because I have like unlimited numbers of stories I can tell. Yeah, maybe they might not all be interesting stories. Oh, I gotta mark this one. There we go. Happy little clouds. CPU, oh, the CPU's down to a swelt 50%. Nice. Get the CPU out onto a tray. I did a like a interview with I think we were talking about Right to Repair, and I was giving him all my black pill microcontroller opinions on it. I've never met him in person though, but I've interacted with him a few times online. My big thing that I was trying to impart to him was, I think I mentioned this earlier in the stream, but as far as Right to Repair goes, like how easily companies can use copyright law and software to restrict you from like fixing things. Like, oh, sorry, you can't fix that car door because we own the code on the chip that runs the locks, and sorry, you can't fix your rear view mirror. So I was just trying to black pill him on that kind of stuff, because basically anything with Wi-Fi connection and a microcontroller can turn into a subscription service dystopian nightmare. Like your Alexa microwave, or, well, this has already happened, like your Ring doorbell. As Lewis would say, why do I need a subscription service in order to stream video from my doorbell onto my own server? I shouldn't need that. It's like, well, the reason that there's a subscription service is so they can make money. Oh, it's so stupid. I mean, you look at like Adobe. Like, I've been using Adobe products for a long time, and you can ask anyone who's used Adobe since before Creative Cloud. Like, the price of using Adobe it skyrocketed with Adobe Cloud, because what you used to do is you would buy like the Creative, what was it called, the Adobe Creative Suite or whatever, and there would be different suites depending on what you needed. Like, I would usually get Adobe Production Premium. So you'd get like, you didn't get everything like you do now with Creative Cloud. Like, you would get like Premiere, Photoshop, Illustrator, Audition, some other stuff. And you'd buy it once, and it would be like $1,500, I want to say. And then here's the critical part. So when you wanted to update it, whatever the latest version was around $600. And, you know, we're talking like $2,005, so, you know, that was more money back then, but it's not like it was a terribly different amount. So typically you could, but there was a limit. So as long as you weren't more than like 4 versions behind, you could update if you got more than, I think it was either 3 or 4 versions behind. If your existing software was more than like 4 versions behind, then you would not be eligible to upgrade and you would have to buy the new software. But back then, they wouldn't upgrade it every year. So if they went from like Creative Suite like 12 to 13, that might take 2 years. It wasn't like it was every year. So being 3 versions behind could be like 5 or 6 years very easily, and you could still upgrade. So if you start to do the math, like, oh, well, you know, $1,700, that sounds like a lot of money. It's like, yeah, so you pay that once. So now if you think about that versus Creative Cloud, it's like $1,700. Okay, 1, 2, 3 years. Okay, there goes 600 times 3 basically. And now you update it, $600. So there's, let's call that $2,100. But now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, $600. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, $600 to keep doing it. So once you get past like 6 years of ownership, the old model was much, much cheaper. And Creative Cloud is much, much more expensive once you start using Adobe past that cycle. And if you look at their stock price historically, hockey stick ever since Creative Cloud came out. All right, rant over. Oh yes, CS3. I think, God, you know, I think CS3 is what I used on Possumus Woman, actually. I think it was, because that would have been like 2007, 2008. No, I don't pirate software because I did full-time professional media production. Yeah. It's the same reason I don't have YouTube ad blocker, because I make money off YouTube ads, so it would be, I would think it would be immoral for me to, well, not immoral, but, you know. All right, this one's getting close. I have 39 minutes to finish, so it's like one of those food challenges. No, I forgot the magnet. Wow. This is what I get for being distracted talking about New York. Oh no. We'll recommend clients invest in canned food and shotguns. I've heard a lot of good things about DaVinci Resolve, which is like a free video editing software. Like a lot of people have actually migrated over to that from Premiere, because people used to be really big on Final Cut. Then Final Cut pissed everyone off, and then everyone switched to Premiere. And then Adobe pissed everyone off, and now everyone's switching to DaVinci Resolve. And then, 8 years from now, DaVinci Resolve will piss everyone off, and people will move on to whatever. Maybe they'll move back to Final Cut. It'll be like South Park, where they're like, let's go support Jim's Drugs. And then Jim's Drugs becomes huge, and then they burn that down too. The thing that bugs me the most about the Creative Cloud is when they make arbitrary changes to the software just for the sake of saying that they updated something. Like when they change, the one that really pissed me off was when they changed the control key binds for scaling symmetrically in Photoshop, because it basically breaks like 20 years of muscle memory, and it's like, it feels like it's like this is this what it's like to have a stroke and then try to tie your shoelaces? It's probably not the most appropriate analogy, but I hate that. I want to say they changed something else recently too. Like I want to say they like when you want to go to the type tool in Photoshop, like you now have. Oh God, I hate this. Oh, I hate these super glue bottles. I gotta get the brand that I like. Like I want to say like you have to hold a T now to. It's still clogged? Oh, come on. Ugh. I just hate that, like when they change the muscle memory stuff. Deactivate with spit. That's right. This white filament must not have had as much of expansion. I usually get Duro brand super glue, but the other day I realized I was completely out, so I had to use a stupid like Fallout container of Loctite, but I don't like these, so I need to go to Ace Hardware. That's where they have the Duro that I like. The thing is, you want to be used to how the bottle works. Because if it's like, oh, the super glue is not coming out, and you squish it harder and harder and harder, and then it just like splooges all over everything, I hate that. So I like knowing. It's just like the muscle memory in Photoshop. Like I like knowing what my the pressure of my fingers will do. Come on. What the hell? Did I not drill that one? No, I must have. It was working. Yes. FreeCAD? Yeah, maybe I should look into that. The auspices of Fusion 360. Now it works. Great. Elapsed time, 2 hours, 45 minutes. That's not too bad, because what was it, like 2 hours to build one of these on Sunday night? So it is a little faster if you do two at a time. Sometimes I just don't have the gumption to do that, though. Hey, the morning I woke up dead, super glue wounds, that totally works. I do that all the time. It's exactly like what they use in the hospitals, except for it's not $100 an ounce. wonder if I could do this blindfold. Except for the soldering part, I suppose. We should do a movie streaming. Can I get the rights to Ghostbusters 2016? I don't know. Let me see if I have $5 in change in my couch. I'm pretty sure he's probably sleeping. Like I said, he's probably in the pile of packing material box in the corner of the room because it's dark and warm. And it's in a box, so it's like everything a cat could ever want. Super glue. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Hot glue, the snot of the gods. 30 minutes to complete the food challenge. To hire cheap labor. Yeah, when Felix was doing this for me, I just 1099'd him. So basically, like contractor work. Actually, hiring employees is like a whole bag of hammers you don't want to deal with if you don't have to. Oh, let's see. What color do you think for the cap? These were when I tried to put clipper on my maker gear, and I think I need to like revert the maker gear to not be clipper, because clipper is like the Linux of 3D printers. Like, spend a lot of time dialing it in, and it's like supposed to be like half the fun. This one's not too bad. This one looks pretty good. That was from the K1, I think. Do I have two of these? These would contrast with the black. I think I do. Yeah, Gabriel, that sounds about right. Hey, you guys, if you remember Posthumous Woman at all? Back when I made that, there was like 3 of us living in a townhouse, and Dave's girlfriend, she was the president's daughter in that movie. She was like the ditzy blonde woman. But in real life, she's like really smart, and she's like, well, she's a doctor now, but she was going to pre-med back then. And so this is back when I was like soldering things in the basement, and I would always love to trigger her by telling her that I sealed a wound with super glue, and she'd get all freaked out about it. And then I would make the joke about how much it cost at the hospital. It's like, hey, look what I did, Mary. I super glued my finger. Jump scare me? Okay. Let's see. This one goes like this. Oh man, I really miss using my teeth. Fingernails just aren't the same. Oh, darn it. It's like, oh, I want to use my teeth so bad. It's like I'm fiending for a hit. Oh, I can't resist. Yes. Contains 21% of Ben's blood, sweat, and tears. And MSG. Tasty hot glue. Delicious. A duck mounted stripper. Ooh, that sounds fun. Oh, I've got all sorts of stuff. I use this guy a lot. But I don't know. Just can't beat teeth, you know? They're always with you. Say before me. Oh, yeah, see the adjustment pots? So I plug it into Windows and then I adjust these until the crosshair is in the center of the screen. I mean, you probably don't need these, but if someone finds that the way they hold a controller against their leg is like biased left or right or up or down or something, then they can use this to tweak it. And that way you can also say, well, you know, if you find it doesn't fit right, I've given you the option to tweak it. Oh, well, since you've given me the option to tweak it, I feel like I'm in control now. Thank you, Ben. Yes, and all it cost me was 2 potentiometers that are actually not all that cheap. You know, I think actually Felix was the first one that started adding potentiometers to these. And then we would like hot glue them to the side of the stick and then cover them with hot glue. And man, doing the 3D printed scans of this was quite the boon. You know, the first time I did it, I went to Turbo Squid, I think it was, and I bought a 3D model of the Xbox One controller. And that's how I did the subtractions originally, because I don't think I had a scanner at that time. It's a bit tight. Roberto, that is that's definitely a movie idea you just came up with there. Everything's wired. Wait a minute. How can this be the internet? There's no wires. Jen, it's wireless. Oh. What are you doing, Morse? Do the elders of the internet know you have that? Wait a minute, the elders of the internet know who I am? It's okay, Roy. Stephen Hawking said it was alright. Well, if it's alright by the hawk. Alright, let's try that. It's like the dentist. It's like, oh, I gotta carve up this tooth before I stick it in your mouth. I don't think I can patent this. If you type Google into Google, you can. That was the same episode where their boss found out his girlfriend was. And then they have that fight scene. That's so great. Like they're fighting in the laboratory, and then like he bounces up. It's so funny. And then they destroy the internet, and then some people think the world is over. They start making out. That was a great show. There was a fire at Sea Parks. Wait a minute. How was there fire at Sea Parks? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, actually, yeah, the internet. That was one of the best episodes. 'Cause that was the one where Jen had to give a speech, and Roy's like, "And you'd be expected to give a speech about your area of expertise, which would be computers." Oh yeah. That looks like it's working pretty decent. I will decide to dry. And that's my first pee. I used the Irish toilet. It wasn't far away. At a Sea Parks. Alright, I have 17 minutes. Why did I cut my thumbnails? I'm never going to cut my thumbnails again. Oh no, I'm over the 3-hour mark. Oh no. Oh no, no one wants to say nude grands. No, they don't, Jen. See, I could never get into the British office. I tried. But IT Crowd, I loved. Probably because it involved computers, I guess. Computers. Well, you know what it probably was. It's probably, IT Crowd is like, I think it's probably more like what Americans think England is like kind of like the over-the-top accents. Whereas The Office was more subdued. And the IT Crowd was filmed more like a traditional sitcom versus a documentary. That should work. Alright, what can I do while I wait for that to cure? I guess I could try to build this. Just try not to move it around too much. Okay, the magnet's in place this time. Good. No. There we go. There was a US version of the IT Crowd? I don't know, for me, like, I just love the accents. Like the Irish guy and then Moss's accent, so I don't know. It kind of reminded me of Monty Python in a way where like the British, they're British, but they're doing like, it's almost like an impression of a British accent. Doesn't really have like, yeah, it's like less realistic than the UK Office was, I guess would be a way to put it. You know, we Americans, we love inauthenticity. All right, let's close this up. Okay, let's put in the coward screw. 13 minutes. Taskmaster. I don't know what that is, sorry. Is it true that the first season of the British Office is almost pretty much the same as the first season of the Office? Like they even have like the same episode plots and everything? And it's only 6 episodes. And same thing with the US Office. It was only 6 episodes. Correct me if I'm wrong. Season 1, I mean. And then in the US Office, I almost didn't get a second season. And they had to Scott more because the David version was like redeemable, so they had to give the character like more redeeming qualities, and that was one of the things they changed in season 2 in the US version. What the hell? It's not responding. Really? They had the same guy play Moss? That's very strange. So was it like, I've come to America? Like, it's weird. There we go. I've got all of these controller devices on this computer. I'll have to like remove them from the device manager. Alright, now we've got activity. Alright, left, right, up, down, down. Do, and that, and then this is blah, 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 blah. Okay. Then there's all this. Got you, sucker. Yeah, I always like I actually like the episodes of The Office where like Michael is somewhat competent. Like I love the one where they're broke and they're doing the murder mystery and he yells at Jim. Because I think Jim would be a terrible coworker if the show was real. Because he was so non-committal and he never really stood up for anything. I know he was like the audience entry character, but like I think he would suck as a coworker. So like seeing Michael Scott yell at him, I love that part. So like they slowly made Michael Scott like redeemable, because I think that's probably the difference in like the storytelling is like like you want to think that someone can be redeemed. You know, you want to see grumpy old up, like regain his humanity and like not obsessed with the past. You want to see Michael Scott realize that his threat level midnight movie sucks and it's okay if people make fun of it. Threat level midnight. I'm Agent Michael Scarn. And his wife, Catherine Zeta Scarn. Oh yeah, I even have a backup copy of those 80 screwdrivers, just in case. But yeah, these, I've been using these since I was 10. Oh. I don't know if you can hear me, but there seems to be major lag. I can still see your chats about The Office, though. Snapping my fingers? Maybe my screen's not updating. Is there motion? Oh, okay. Yeah, the screen in my OBS isn't updating. It's stuck on a blank blue background without a controller in the screen, but as long as you guys are up to date, that's all that matters. I'm now showing you the inside of this black shaft with the hot glue in it, and there's a ribbon cable in the foreground. All right, last beer in the cooler. Hey, I timed that pretty good, didn't I? Yep, it's my black shaft. Alright, still got the right screw. Come on, dry glue, dry! Guess this one's blue. You can have any color you want, as long as it's whatever filament I printed it in. How to cut your thumb. Rick and Morty Adventures for 100 years. 100 episodes. I might not be in all of them, Morty, but it's okay. It's still kind of tight. Da, 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 da. You may feel some pressure on this crown. Pickle hack. The payoff is huge. Flip me over. I've got a different voice. I'm different voice, Rick. I really got to redesign this. It's a big part of this is like anything you can do to speed it up or reduce the amount of time you have to F around. That helps you not have to raise the price. Tag media, $5. If a window opened in the sky and scientists revealed reality was a petri dish to be flushed in 3 days or 50 years our time, how would it change your life? Well, I don't care. I mean, who knows? Like, it could be all simulation. How would we even know? And 3 days / 50 years our time. Time isn't rendered in what we consider to be real time. Like, what if one of our Planck time takes like 100 years to render on some alien computer? We wouldn't know the difference because we only perceive the change. Like, oh, look, this frame is different than this frame, but to us it's instantaneous. It's kind of like pausing a computer. The computer would it wouldn't know any time had passed. It would just know that, oh, now it's time for the next operation. Same thing with us. So that's my retort to the Petri dish line. It's like we have no idea how much we don't know or wouldn't know. Pickle Rick. Yeah, the Morty sounds like bang on. The Rick is good enough. I think they just, well, I don't know. I'm not saying whether or not what's his face is. I mean, who knows? I mean, the guy is obviously a weird dude, but I don't know. I just have the feeling they just wanted him off the show. They'd be like, "Out, am I?" Then he throws a pumpkin bomb at Dan Harmon. Any of y'all play that Justin Roiland game, High on Life? It's actually not a bad game. It has a cameo from the Red Letter Media people. It's kind of like Rick and Morty Halo. It plays a lot like Halo. It's on Game Pass. Apparently it was going to be a Stadia exclusive, but then when that got canceled, they moved it over to Game Pass. Ugh. Well, I mean, I guess that's technically correct, Roberto. So even if it's not a brain in a jar, our perception of reality is only what our brains allow us to see. All right, I'm going to attach the lower portion. Oh, crap, I'm a minute over. Darn it. I mean, like, what you're talking about, Roberto also talks like, what is it? Solipsism? The idea that you can only truly know what... The only thing that you actually know is real is the fact that you can experience it. So you all could be NPCs in a jar. I would never know the difference. All I know is that I can perceive you, and then from your perspective, all you know is that you can hear me talk about pizza. I guess that's true. Like, that is the only thing you can really be sure of is your own consciousness. I mean, I don't think that would be the case, but a simulation with one person in it. A simulation of a simulation of a simulation. You know why I really think, like, Justin Roiland was probably like, oh man, we've ripped off every idea from Star Trek Next Gen and Rick and Morty. I guess I'm going to quit. Have a Blatz on me. Do I have to have a Blatz? Hey, never forget, Orson Welles is from Wisconsin. He's like, I grew up in Kenosha. Peas grow there in the spring. Wait a minute. Why would peas grow in Kenosha? This doesn't make any sense. Alright, let's put this in here. Look at these terrible colors. Oh, it's red, white, and blue. It's like the 4th of July colors on this ribbon cable. Why is there an American flag? Because your condo is in America. You know, even though they took the office from us and put it in the Vatican-like vault that is Peacock, we will carry on the tradition of the office through our oral history. Like our ancient ancestors told stories around the campfire. We too can tell those stories around the campfire. That could be a good YouTube video. Like, see how much of one episode of The Office you can like recite and how close you can get. The easiest one would probably be the one where they have the terrible dinner party. Boy, would I love to burn your candles. You burn it, you buy it. Great! I'll be your first customer. You're hardly my first. That's what she said! That was a $250 plasma TV you just murdered, babe. Good luck paying me back on your $0 a year salary plus benefits. See? It'll always live on in our oral tradition. They can't take that from us. A sponsorship from Menards. Great, just what I've always wanted. Oh, if you see the DVDs at the office in a thrift store, you should totally buy it. It's a great show. And eventually they'll reboot it and it'll be terrible. And then everyone will get mad about it, but then we'll forget about it, and then we'll go back to the original. Alright, let's see how we did. I think I have to adjust the pots. Come on, laptop. You can't give up the will to live quite yet. There we go. It's like, stop torturing me. Ugh. I'll see if I can get a Bud cameo before I go. Looks good. D-pad works, although I think I need to rebuild how, I need to make a new version of it. Ryan, get in the coffin. The Ben Heck Show reboot starring Kevin Rose. Yeah, it's good. Why is this D-pad is being really annoying. Oh no, Menards flooded? Maybe it's from all the snow we just got in April. Bud, yeah, he obviously has his own webcam. He has his OnlyFans. switch. I might not. Oh yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what's up. Look, I'll get some sort of Bud cameo going. I promise. Bud cameo. Bud will read your messages into a cell phone. Laptop is like, kill me. Why is this one so stiff? That's what she said! Oh, God damn it. Oh, damn it, I'm 12 minutes over. Still? New office chair with strange lumbar support. It's okay. That lumbar is weird. Hey, I don't know. Hey, I was making a new work from home station and they offered me a chair to review and I'm like, the stars have aligned. I think Matthias Wendell did a YouTube review of one of their converting desks as well. The converting desk I built actually has a top from FlexiSpot, but the mechanism was made by somebody else. I didn't use a FlexiSpot mechanism because it didn't go quite as low as I wanted for a convertible desk when it's in the desk form. I wanted it to be like 24 inches. Why Why is this bean so persnickety? This is all. This is the 80-20 rule right here. Just when you think you're done. That is somehow worse. Oh, for crying out loud. Huh. Bark. I would love to make like some carbon contact domes. That would be so cool. That would solve so many problems. Because when you when you solder tack switches by hand, like there's always gonna be some variance, which is probably part of the problem here. Jesus. I really hate when this happens. It's like, oh, I'm going to finish this controller, and then there's one stupid little thing like this, or some wire that's loose or something, and then you spend like an extra half hour on that one part. It's like, oh, that ended up being like 1/3 of the build. That part's not cool. I would never smash a controller on the floor. That's decent. I'm just going to assume there's enough glue left over to hold it in place. Now for the final details. Oh yes, beautiful. Alright, I'm calling that one done. I don't know why.